Okay, this is Dr. Ben. Welcome. I imagine you're seeing this video on the Dr. Ben blog, www.drbenlo.com/blog, B-L-O-G. And I'm glad we have this chance to chat today. I'm just taking a break from some of the other things I'm doing to answer again or address a couple of the questions that I've received in the last couple of weeks. And you may hear some noises in the background. My kids are playing downstairs, but we'll do our best to give you some good information here. Okay, and this will just take a few minutes. A couple of things I want to do, though. I want to start again with an excellent question I received, and the person who gave this question did an excellent job because they gave a specific example, and then they also generalized it to a general principle that is the reason why I'm addressing this for all of you. And his question was, how do you know, with all the things that you read and research, how do you know what is the right answer? For instance, what to take. And the example was with calcium. How many milligrams of calcium should you take? What form should you take it in? What should you take it with? Vitamin D, magnesium, how much magnesium should you take? And a lot of different factors. How do you know what to do with all the information that's out there? And I pulled this out again because I want to do two things for you today. One is I want to give you an excellent free resource online where you can research a lot of these things and get some great information for free online. Okay? Secondly, I want to give you some guiding principles, exactly what this person is asking, to really know how do you put this all into context. Okay, and so one of the things I want to highlight here, first of all, is the kind of the complicated nature of this question. How much calcium should you take? As an example of many questions that we may have. And then secondly, I want to show you how simple it can really be addressed once you understand some guiding principles. Okay, so here's the complication. When you ask how many milligrams of calcium should I take, or maybe it's some other supplement or something else about your health. But let's use this again as an example. When you ask that question, there are a lot of factors that play in. For instance, what form it is will affect how it's absorbed. Okay. Also, other minerals and vitamins like vitamin D and magnesium can affect how it's absorbed and used in the body. Even whether you're getting it from food sources or a supplemental source, especially with something like calcium, can affect how well it's absorbed. Secondly, just being absorbed alone is enough. What we really want is healthy bones, right? Plus, calcium has a major effect on the whole electrical system in the body. But let's start with just the bones. The end result we want is healthy bones. So there are actually different studies and ways of looking at that. And some forms of calcium, even though you might up the levels that are absorbed in the blood, may not actually be creating the strong, healthy bones that we want. In some cases, they may actually be becoming more brittle. So what do you do with all this information, and how do you get the right answer? Well, let me give you a great free resource, first of all. And that is a person who used to practice in the Chicago area at the same time that I was working with Home First Health Services and specializing in family medicine and home birth there. And this gentleman is Dr. Joseph Mercola. You may be familiar with him and with his site. He has an excellent website. It's mercola.com. M as in Mary, ERCOLA.com, and you can search a lot of free articles there. If you look up calcium there, you find a number of articles, and one thing that Dr. Mercola highlights that's very significant is that there's some studies that suggest, both for teenagers and people in general, particularly women and teenagers that were studied, that actually getting their calcium from food, even if it actually resulted in lower amounts of daily intake of calcium compared to those who were taking supplements, yet the people who were taking it from food tended to end up with healthier bones, or in some cases healthier amounts of calcium in their body. So it seemed to be more effective that way. And that's just one example of what we're talking about. So in a nutshell, to give you a guiding principle here, I want to give you this. And this is how I approach supplementation now and health in general, is we want to give you overall, give your body the raw materials and nutrients as a spectrum, as a complete spectrum, in as healthy a form as we can, so that your body can then use what it needs to do the job it needs to do. And you probably all realize when you stop to think about it that your body from second to second is doing a lot of amazing things that you do not control consciously, and that you're not even paying attention to make sure you have all the right balance of milligrams of this and milligrams of that, and yet your body is grabbing things and using them in a very effective way to heal whenever you have a cut, to heal whenever you get sick, and to keep a lot of processes going and regenerate cells, and all kinds of things are happening every day. Okay? So in the same way, I want to encourage you, and I hope you got the PDF download from yesterday, because there's some key guiding principles in that PDF. If not, you can hop back to yesterday's entry on the blog and download that on drbenlo.com/blog. And here's a key. If you give your body some of the raw ingredients or nutrients, both from food and from a well-balanced supplement, if you choose to do that, it can really make a difference in giving your body the raw materials to heal itself. And then you don't have to worry so much about all the individual things that you might be doing. And for example, we used to talk about supplementing high amounts of individual vitamins or minerals, and people were trying to mix and match, read all the different newsletters they could get, supplement, so many milligrams of this, so many milligrams of that, tons of bottles in their cupboard. And then you find out some new research came out and you found out, oh, you're taking too much of this, or this in isolation wasn't good for you and was actually causing problems. So in the end result, I really like the example with calcium that the studies that Dr. Mercola mentions point to, because in the end, I recommend having as healthy and balanced approach as you can. Okay, and in my foundational wellness program and Journey to Wellness CDs that you can obtain, and I'll tell you in a moment how to get those, that this is the approach that I recommend. Okay, and you want to address both your nutrition, have as balanced an approach to nutrition as you can, and again, I like to give simple guidelines, like I did in yesterday's PDF, in the 1, 2, 3 steps that I copied from my Foundational Well program and put in that PDF. Give you simple guidelines that you could grasp and use immediately to make a difference in your health without having to carry around a whole cheat sheet to try to remember everything. Okay, so simple guidelines for balanced nutrition, okay, and for balanced supplementation if you choose to supplement or boost your nutrition in any way. And there are a lot of different ways to boost it. One is simply juicing actual fruits and vegetables and concentrating the nutrients by juicing. Others is different superfoods that are out on the market, and there's some very good ones. And then there are also natural forms of supplementation where a company has done the extracting and concentrating of different nutrients for you in a measurable amount. But again, we're finding now that those that take a broad spectrum across the board, just like these nutrients exist in nature, is generally going to do you much more good than just taking one item in isolation and trying to boost it in really high amounts. Okay, so I'm going to recommend some guiding principles of general balance in your nutrition, balanced approach to your supplementation, balanced approach to moving and exercising and breathing and flow that you may have seen in some of the Dr. Ben email letters. And here's my kids playing downstairs. And also mindset, your attitude, your spiritual side, which has a huge effect. And we talked about yesterday how your beliefs and your attitude can actually magnify the effects of whatever you do. They can either magnify the negative effects because of your worry and your stress, or they can magnify the good effects because of your being in alignment with the appreciation and the thanksgiving and the belief in the good that what you're doing is doing for you. Okay, so your beliefs and attitude can actually magnify what you do, and we're understanding that more and more now as where science is going with quantum physics, and where we're beginning to understand all the connections between our thoughts and beliefs and the mind-body connections, and how that translates into the very neurochemicals and neurotransmitters that are transmitted throughout our body and the cell's response to them. And there's some amazing studies, this is a little digression here, so I won't spend a lot of time here right now, but some amazing studies that even suggest in some cases cells respond to things even before we can see any physical signal reaching them, but they're responding to a thought before the signal actually gets to the cell. So there's obviously energetic type communication that's going on that we're just starting to scratch the surface of, that goes beyond some of our normal Western physical linear approach to things. So your attitude and beliefs play a big role.